You a little bit later than usual because it's been a pretty packed morning. But welcome to the Daily Dose of Success God's Way. This is Erin Harrigan, your Hustle with Heart and Health coach, helping entrepreneurs align results to God's truth and helping everyone attain results for total health with Arbonne. So coming to you again from this fantastic study on Gideon. And I just want to give a shout out to my amazing Bible study group. I just love these women. I love the topics that we take on. I love the depth of the conversations that we get into around them. And last night was no different. So today's topic for us on our live is power and authority. And it comes from day 5 of week 3 of this Gideon study. And Priscilla Schreier's title for day 5 is The Unseen Supply. And you know, it's funny that we have so much at our disposal as God-centered entrepreneurs. And while we get that on a certain level, we are still very often, maybe I shouldn't say we, maybe I should say I am still very often not realizing that I don't have to do this all in my own strength and my own power. And that right there is sort of the key to this whole idea of pursuing success God's way and hustle with heart, is that we are not in control and we are not determining all of the outcomes. Yes, there is work that we do. Yes, we take intentional action. But ultimately, when we're walking in our path and following God's call for our businesses, it looks very different than the world because we're relying on the Lord's direction. And we're also relying on his Kairos timing, which we've talked about in the past, and the outcomes that he has intended and predestined for us. But I think sometimes that we don't realize we have full access to his strength and his power. We think that it has to be all on our shoulders. And so there's just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you, with you all this morning. In Luke 9, as Jesus is sort of commissioning his disciples, he does 2 things in verses 1 and 2 before he sends them out into the world. The first thing is that he gives them power to heal, power to minister, etc. And he gives them the authority to use that power. So it's not just that we have access to God's supernatural power, but we have the authority to use it in what he has called us to do with it. And then he sent them out. So it wasn't until he fully, that he equipped them and he gave them the authority to use that power that he sent them out. But you guys, if you continue reading in Luke chapter 9, you come to the place where they are feeding the 5,000. And despite the power and the authority that Jesus has given them, their first inclination as this crowd gathers and they don't have enough food is to send the crowd away. Because in that moment, it's like they forgot, A, who they were among with Jesus, and B, that they had power and authority to create the things that needed to be created to serve this incredible crowd of men, women, and children. But they forgot. And don't we do the same thing? We do the same thing. We forget that we can be strong in him. We forget that that we are in the Lord's power and might. We forget that the Holy Spirit is in us, indwells us, and that he gives us the strength and he fully equips us to do what he's calling us to do. She goes on to say that if we have power but no authority to use it, the power is wasted. But the point is that he gives us the power, the capability, the potential, and the freedom to choose to use it. But will we choose to use it? So this is what she says. Retrieving and walking in the power you've been given is a daily requirement for victorious Christian living. And I would argue as part of that living, it's victorious entrepreneurship. It's victorious business that you're doing. And she said that accessing the power within us is as simple as prayerfully asking God to unleash it in our experience day by day, moment by moment. But then we have to be willing and make the choice to walk by the Spirit, as it says in Galatians 5:16. So he releases the power to us throughout the moments of our day. And as we remain obedient and dependent on him, that is when we experience the effects of power-filled living. The last thing that she says in this conclusion is, remember the unseen power within you instead of being distracted by what's around you. So you guys, I think I shared with you last week, I was super distracted. And that's exactly where the enemy wants us, right? Distracted, discontent, doubtful. And, really struggling with, where do you want me to go? And here's the thing, guys, is I know where God wanted me to go. I just was digging in my heels and I was not stepping into that. And through a couple of really key conversations, I realized, what am I holding on to and why? And she says, there is a power source in your soul that you have the authority to access through Christ. Anytime, any place. Your resources are in your relationship with Jesus. Tap into the power source and prepare to be surprised by his ability operating in your life. So I just want to ask you guys, if you had to pinpoint what most often distracts you from remembering and using this unseen supply, what is it? What is it that's distracting you in your business? Is it a fear of not having enough business? Is it a fear of not having enough clients? Is it a fear of success? Like, oh my gosh, what if I have this success? Am I really an imposter? Is it a fear of, will I live up to that? Is it a fear of, I want to go this way, but God's calling me that way, and I'm afraid to let go of what I'm white knuckling to allow God to move? I would love for you to get down below and share with me what it is that is distracting you from remembering his power supply and the authority you have to use it. If you feel self-conscious posting that below, get on over to Success God's Way and post it on over there, because that's what we're there for as that community. Couple of reminders. The latest podcast dropped on Saturday, so I hope you'll get over there and listen to it. Leave a review on iTunes, subscribe. We're closing in on that 1,000 downloads, which is just my goal for the end of October. Secondly, we have moved the weekly dose live to Monday evenings. It simply was, while I loved coming to you guys on Sunday nights, I really like to reserve Sunday for my time with the Lord and my family, and then my Bible study on the Sundays that I have that. So move that to Monday nights at 8. If you can't tune in live, it doesn't matter. You can always rewatch it, but it is only available in the Success God's Way community, so make sure you check that out. And then the latest blog post is posting on Wednesday. So if you want to keep up with all of that, just get on over to erinharrigan.com and subscribe. And certainly if I can support you in this walk, whether it's through Healthy Living with Arbonne or as your Hustle with Heart coach, I'd love to chat with you about that. And I wish you guys a fantastic Monday. All right, see ya.